The Birth and Death of Meaning, an Interdisciplinary Perspective on the Problem of Man, second edition by Ernest Becker. This is a reading of the preface. This is an ambitious book. In these times, there is hardly any point in writing just for the sake of writing. One has to want to do something really important. What I have tried to do here is to present in a brief, challenging, and readable way the most important things that the various disciplines have discovered about man, about what makes people act the way they do. This is the most intimate question that we know. And what I want to do is to present to the intelligent reader that knowledge that the experts themselves get excited about. One curious thing that separates the social from the natural sciences is that the natural sciences, with much fanfare, immediately communicate to the general public their most exciting new ideas. The social sciences tend to nurse their significant insights in scholarly oblivion. As a result, people feel that the social sciences are not doing anything important or exciting. But the opposite is true. Probably the most thrilling and potentially liberating discoveries have been made in the fields of anthropology, sociology, psychology, and psychiatry. The result is that we are today in possession of an excellent general theory of human nature, and this is what I want to reveal to the reader. But we have also known for a long time that one of the reasons the social sciences work in oblivion is that they are not getting at knowledge that instantly makes people feel powerful and satisfied, that gives them the sense that they are taming their world, taking command of its mystery and danger. The science of man is the science of man's knowledge about himself. It gives a chill in addition to a thrill, the chill of self-exposure. We may be the only species in the universe, for all we know, that has pushed self-exposure to such an advanced point that we are no longer a secret to ourselves. As we will see in these pages, the exposure of this secret is in many ways very unsettling, very anxiety-causing. If we could become comfortable with this knowledge and make it the general property of large masses of voters and their political representatives, there is no doubt that we would probably become one of the wisest planets in the universe, at least of our form of life, and we would deserve our species' title, Homo sapiens, man the wise. We have a long and improbable way to go to accomplish this personal and political task. But my ambition in writing this book is nothing less than to contribute some small bit to that staggering end, an easily graspable synthesis of what we must know about ourselves if we are to deserve our name. In its original form, this book was a series of lectures to residents in psychiatry given by a fresh PhD in anthropology. Now, in this new, extended, and almost wholly revised edition, I have been able to draw on another decade of experience as a teacher trying to get at essentials and to make them clear and challenging. This book is written for a wider audience, and it draws on a wider spectrum, including religion. One of the main characteristics of this new edition is that I have been able, finally, to make my peace with Freud and to come to terms with what is vital in Freudian theory. In the original edition, I spent much time firing volleys at Freud's instinct theory, only to learn, as I pressed my study further, that the battle had long since moved on, and that others had long ago carried the day that I was so hotly contesting. I was left red-faced but wiser, which sums up the whole experience of scholarship anyway. The whole of modern psychiatry and psychoanalysis itself has moved sagaciously beyond Freud, and the familiar names of Alfred Adler, William Reich, Otto Rank, Kurt Goldstein, Harry Sullivan, Karen Horney, Erich Fromm, Ludwig Binswanger, Metered Boss, F. Buitenzig, J. H. Vandenberg, Viktor Frankl, Ronald Lang, and now Frederick Perls. This has made Freudian psychology a truly organic part of the general movement of ideas, tying it into the work of William James, James Mark Baldwin, Dewey, and even lesser-known thinkers like F. M. Alexander. What was accomplished in this merger was to get the total human organism back into the theory of the workings of the mind, so that the early functional psychology and the psychoanalytic and existential psychology are now one. This is a crucial historical achievement, not only as a linkage of the history of ideas, but also as a secure platform for future work. What is there now left really to argue about? We are in possession of a mature scientific psychology that, as I hope to show in these pages, is the most powerful critical weapon that we have for the potential freeing of men. There are two thinkers, above all, to whom I personally feel especially indebted for this mature psychology, and whose vital work I had previously slighted to the real detriment of my own. One of them, Erich Fromm, is well known, but I think that his carefully wrought and cumulative work has not yet been sufficiently appreciated for what it is and for how centrally it stands in the Enlightenment tradition. The other thinker, Otto Rank, is today almost wholly neglected, and this new edition represents only a first reflection of my ridiculously belated discovery of his breathtakingly brilliant work. Rank truly is the brooding genius in the wings of psychoanalysis, and we have only just begun to hear from him, for example, in the work of Robert J. Lifton. I am not trying to absolve myself of brash ignorance, but there is something perverse about our university education when it fails to show us the authentically cumulative tradition of thought. We have to discover the vital thinkers on our own and accidentally. Our teachers, if anything, pooh-pooh the very people we should be studying, and we spend needless years just randomly and with luck coming into our own heritage. Finally, belatedly making peace with Freud and leaning onto Fromm and Rank means accepting into one's thought a truly rounded and less rosy view of human nature. Whereas I once, as a social scientist, dedicatedly followed Rousseau in his straightforward view that man is natural or good and is corrupted by society, I slighted the darker side, the side of human evil and viciousness. As we will see from these pages, man is mostly innocent, really potentially good, even naturally noble, and as we will stress, society is responsible, largely, for shaping people for giving them opportunities, for unfolding more freely and more unafraid. But this unfolding is confused and complicated by man's basic animal fears, by his deep and indelible anxieties about his own impotence and death, and his fear of being overwhelmed and sucked up into the world and into others. All this gives his life a quality of driveness, of underlying desperation, an obsession with the meaning of it and with his own significance as a creature. And this is what drives him to try to make his mark on the world, to try to twist it and turn it to his own designs, to bury over the rumbling anxieties. And this usually means that he tries to twist and turn others, make his mark on them, use them to justify his own problematic life. As Rank put it so bluntly, man creates out of freedom a prison. This means every man in any society, from the most primitive to the most civilized, no matter what the child training programs or economic system. I don't mean to imply that Rousseau has been negated or supplanted, that the Enlightenment hope is an empty fantasy, but only that modern psychology has revealed that the task of bringing into being the new world that Rousseau hoped for will be so much more problematic and difficult than he dreamed. This should simply reinforce our own dedication by knowing the true nature, the frustrating complexity of our subject matter. We are more sober scientists with an even better chance of achieving something vital than if we lived in a facile illusion. Fromm and Rank, taken together and built upon, really give us the completion of the Enlightenment quest, a coherent picture of the psychological and social determinisms that constrict man, a historical psychology in the fullest sense of the term. It is then up to us what we will make of such a magnificent foundation. It is not often that one has the opportunity to try to correct the errors and immaturities of an early work, and I am grateful to the readers of the first edition and to the Free Press for making possible this new book. The backward state of both knowledge and practice in matters, human and moral, will continue until inquiry has found a method of abstraction which, because of its degree of remoteness from established customs, will bring them into a light in which their nature will be indefinitely more clearly seen than is now the case. John Dewey. May we not be justified in reaching the diagnosis that, under the influence of cultural urges, some civilizations, or some epochs of civilization, possibly the whole of mankind, have become neurotic? We may expect that one day someone will venture to embark upon a pathology of cultural communities. Sigmund Freud.